Welcome to the program today. My guest today is Charlie Strelczik from NACI, a recent graduate of NACI. Welcome, Charlie. Nice to have you here today.
Thanks for having me.
That's great. We're going to have a really good conversation, I think, today. Charlie, in particular, was the Governor General medalist. Received that award at the high school graduation. That award is presented every year to every high school in Canada. And I know the Neepawa one started in 1928 because there's a plaque on the wall in the school with all of the names of the recipients. And your name, Charlie, is going to be up there along with all the rest. So congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Now, first of all, maybe just tell us who you are, a little bit about yourself, your family. You have always been in Neepawa or what? Who's your mom and dad and so on?
So I'm Charlie, as you said, and my parents are Debbie and Mike Strelczik. Debbie is from the Rapid City, Minnedosa area, grew up there, and then moved to Neepawa. I also have a sister named Kennedy and two little dogs.
Two little dogs.
Little lap dogs, yes.
Okay, that's great. And your mother's maiden name?
Olson.
It was Olson,
yes.
Debbie Olson from the Minnedosa Rapid City area. Well, that's great. And people around here, I mean, certainly know, and I know Mike as well, too, of course. So that's great. And you were born in Neepawa, I'm assuming?
Yes, always been here my whole life, yeah.
Well, you're in Neepawa. I wasn't born here, but I moved here when I was 3, so I've been around a while, that's for sure. Now, the Governor General's medal is particularly for top marks in the schools. So maybe let me ask you about your subjects. They consider, I understand, the grade 12 subjects, regardless of which year you actually take them in. And I understand you did a couple of grade 12 subjects in your grade 11 year. Mm-hmm. So tell me what subjects you did for grade 12. Okay,
so the ones I did in grade 12, I did gym class because that's required. I did band class, jazz band, which fortunately was actually able to happen a little bit, which was nice this year. And I was also able to take psychology, was a grade 12 course that I took in my grade 11 year, as well as applied math, English transactional focus, and I also took global issues, which is a history course that also deals with current events, and a literary English course this year.
So more on the arts side, it appears.
Yes,
where your bent is, that's right. Okay, now since you took some grade 12 courses in grade 11, did that lighten your load a bit for grade 12?
It certainly did, yes, because I had different slots throughout the years that I was able to take courses above my grade level. Okay. In those times, it made my grade 12 year a lot lighter, so then I was able to work in between, which helped me a lot.
You mean like work out of school, make money type work? Or
yes, I also was taking 2 dual credit courses through Brandon University online during the first semester. Due to the pandemic, those courses were online, so I was able to contact the university and take a intro to psychology class as well as a music theory class in the first term, so those also counted towards my Brandon University transcript, I suppose, as well as my NACI one.
Oh, well, you're thinking ahead, that's for sure. Use your time well to get a couple of university credits in there during your high school career. That's great. Now, you mentioned music and phys ed. How did they go during this COVID year? That was challenging. What happened?
It certainly was. So gym class, the biggest change was we weren't allowed to use the change room, so we couldn't change into gym clothes and had to kind of figure out games that we could do that minimized contact, whether that be with other people or with a ball being passed around. That was also a risk. So it was a lot of individual games, still wearing our normal school clothes. But because of that, we did get the chance to talk to a lot of our classmates and teachers a lot more. So I actually made friends and had conversations in that class that I otherwise wouldn't have. And the same was kind of true for band and jazz band as well, because there were periods throughout the year where we were completely restricted on what we could do. Mm-hmm. So sometimes we'd be learning rhythm stuff by just using drumsticks and hitting random things and learning rhythms and counting. Otherwise, we were able to play outside sometimes if the weather was okay, and besides that, we just learned about music history and watched videos explaining important pieces from the past and stuff like that.
Right. So how much of your grade 12 year, September to June, was actually not at school, like it was totally remote?
Yeah, so the grade 12s actually got lucky. I think the school was very considerate towards us, knowing that we wanted to have as much of a senior year as possible. And because of that, when there was that lockdown, I think it was around Christmas, if I'm remembering correctly, was extended. That was the only time that the grade 12s were not at school for a permanent amount of time. Other than that, when the other younger grades still were alternating on a every second day schedule,
Right, yeah.
I think it was, grade 12s were allowed to go every day. So we, as an entire grade, were in the building every single day, whereas grade 9, 10s, and 11s alternated every second day.
What might have accommodated that a little bit as well is grade 12 classes are often fewer students in them.
Yeah.
You know, because of the many options you're allowed, they sort of break out into smaller groups.
Yeah.
So that, well, that's wonderful. I didn't know that. And that's great that was able to happen. Okay, so you must play a musical instrument of some kind, one or two, or what do you do?
Oh, I play quite a few. In band class, I've mostly played the trombone and sometimes the euphonium over the years. In jazz band, I started by playing the bass guitar and then played the trombone in the jazz band this year as well. And besides that, I've been involved with festival in town, playing the piano, both solo and duets. I've been doing piano for more than a decade in the town. And besides that, I've played the drums and stuff growing up because that music's been heavily involved on my father's side of the family. With his family used to have the band Western Strings.
Well, that's right.
Yeah,
That's your grandfather, right?
Yes, yeah.
That's right, the Western Strings. I remember that.
Yeah, so I grew up playing the drums from a very young age, being thrown right into that kind of stuff. So just kind of picked stuff up as I went when I had free time.
Well, that's great. So now, but in terms of playing together, were you able to do much playing together during the grade 12 year?
Yes, it was limited. We were fortunate with the jazz band because it was a smaller group of kids. When restrictions allowed, we were able to spread out enough that we were able to play as a group, so that was good. A lot of mornings in the courtyard at 7 in the morning, rain, snow. We had my trombone slide freeze together a few times.
I was going to say there must be some instruments that work well at 20 below.
No, yeah, we definitely, I think the drum player wasn't very happy that he had to carry everything out in the cold, but honestly, we were all pretty happy just to be playing together, so it was good to have moments like that in the courtyard to play as a group or inside, even if we were all hitting chairs with drumsticks, at least it was something.
Did anybody take any video of these happenings? That would have been wonderful. Was that a missed opportunity?
I think there's probably some kids who took videos. I'm sure there's teachers who also recorded certain things and took footage of just the craziness that has been the last couple of years in the education system, really. It's been quite the adjustment in a lot of different ways.
Well, maybe that's a project for our summer student, Aiden, who is going into grade 12 next year. If there's some material around, perhaps there's an opportunity. I mean, that'd be wonderful to try and capture that in something, you know, because hopefully COVID doesn't come around for another 100 years. I'm afraid it might, but anyway, it's that we wouldn't have that. Well, that's great. Now, besides the Governor General's Award, which you received at graduation, I'm assuming you maybe received a couple of other scholarships, perhaps, did you?
Yes, I did. I received the High Life, I believe it was the High Life Award of Excellence at the grad ceremony, as well as the Margaret Lawrence Literary Scholarship. And I just want to thank the donors for those scholarships, because that's going to be really helpful for my university as well. I also received 2 scholarships through Brandon University. Just one was an entrance scholarship based on my marks once again, and the second one was one I applied for.
Oh, okay. Which one was that? Do you recall? Like,
Don't quite remember the name of it, just because it was something specific, but it was one I just had to apply for, and I think it was also based off academic standing as well as extracurricular involvement and stuff like that.
Kind of a general all-around.
Yeah.
Good student award kind of thing that you can buy. Well, that's great. There are definitely awards out there, and I know the staff at the high school and at all high schools, encourage students to apply for those awards. You never win an award unless you actually apply for it. Or most of them. Some I guess that you are surprised that you win, but yes, and thank you to the donors.
Yeah.
And there are many.
Yes.
There are many, that's for sure. So how did the grad ceremony at the high school go then? Let's talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, you know what? I actually think, I don't know if my other classmates would agree, but part of me actually really enjoyed the way the grad ceremony worked. I'm really impressed by the effort that was put in by everyone at the school as well as the grad committee. I know that the two co-chairs in our grade had to deal with a lot of crazy stuff trying to get things sorted out and making sure information got to all the students, and they did a good job at wrangling up all the kids and making sure that everybody's input was included. So at the grad ceremony, it was really nice. It was all outside, the weather was good. I liked how we got called up. There was places to sit. It wasn't terribly long, but we still got...
You want to explain how that works? I remember seeing all the white chairs sitting out around the track.
Okay, so that part was after the ceremony. We went to sit there, and anybody who was parked for family, then they drove around the track around us. So all the grads were stationary sitting in the chairs. So it was like a reverse parade almost.
Right. Okay, neat.
So everyone was in their cars distanced, and they drove around us so they could see all the outfits, like a reverse grand march.
Okay.
Previous to that, we had the grad ceremony. We had the stage, and we got called up in groups. We'd sit at a group of chairs in front of the stage, and then we'd get called up by our names in those smaller groups. And then once all those people at the front had been gone through, they'd go back to their seats at the outer rings of the track. The new group of students would come up alphabetically and then go on stage.
So your 3 awards that you won were presented all at the same time to you?
Yes. Yeah, that also saved time a lot and helped with students not running into each other and having too much close contact and stuff like that. So it was planned out really well in that sense. You heard what everyone got all at once, and a lot of parents and grandparents said that it was really convenient for them as well, because they enjoyed being able to record and take pictures of everything being announced for their family member at the same time.
And it was also on an FM channel or something that, a YouTube channel, live, I believe?
Yes, it was streamed similar to last year. I think there was actually, the school made an investment in some technology to make sure that these grad ceremonies had the best quality possible. So it was streamed similar to last year, and I believe that there was also that radio station, because we had a DJ or an MC guy of some sort come in, and he led the cruise that we did around town and was talking into the radio channel, and also did some announcing on stage.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I filmed the parade, the car parade, the vehicle parade around town, but I didn't realize that there was a commentary that...
Yeah, he was speaking into the same FM channel, I'm pretty sure, that was being... I could hear it because I was at the front of the parade, and we could hear, because I think he had a sunroof open or something, and he was announcing as we drove around town.
Oh, okay, yeah, I did hear that.
Yeah.
All right, I did hear that. I thought maybe it was something off-site that was doing it. Yeah, no, I did hear that person up front. Well, that's great. Yeah, I really enjoyed the kids were having fun in the parade.
It was awesome. Yeah.
I think there's going to be a number of events or differences that Grad has had to put in over the last 2 years that may carry on.
I think so too. I think there's some really good ideas that have been implemented, and people seem to like it, so I think that's something that could carry on.
Well, I know it certainly wouldn't be 3 hours sitting in the hot gym,
yes,
as we've had in the past, going to all of the awards and so on. So that may be, that's good. And of course, you're on the principal's honor roll, I'm sure, as well, with your awards. I should mention that as well. Well, okay. What about the non-academic side of school life and so on. I know you're heavily involved, I guess, in music and things like that, but tell me maybe what other clubs and activities and that you were involved in through your high school years.
Okay, I was involved in quite a few different groups throughout high school. Starting in grade 9, I think I was in student council for 1 year and also helped get the garden club started. It was just a small group, but we got a few members together and started that.
And now, explain what that is.
So the garden club is the group that's now responsible for the planters in front of the bus loop at the school. We got a grant, so it's the garden club who has planted those over the past number of years, as well as I think we were also very involved with Mrs. Menzies, so that was a lovely experience as well to be able to work with her. And then I was part of the Hope group for, I think, all throughout high school, as well as in middle school quite a bit.
And Hope stands for?
I think it stands for helping our world pursue equality, or something like that.
It's close to that, that's right.
Close to that.
I can never seem to get it right myself, so I was hoping you could, but I know the Rotary Club that I'm a part of work with the Hope Club whenever we can as part of our youth involvement in the town. So we're I'm personally quite aware of the Hope group and the leaders that you have there as well, and we thank them for their contribution.
Well, I thank the Rotary Club because they were very helpful with the food drives that we were able to do this year, especially during the pandemic. We had no idea how that was going to go, but there were people in our town who were in desperate need, of course, because it was an even more difficult time than usual. And thanks to everyone at the Hope group, the teachers, the entire community, really, we were able to have 2 different food drives that both set records for the amount of food we've ever collected in Nipawa.
And you were in charge of that, if I recall.
Yeah, I helped to run.
We talked before, that's right. I remember.
I helped to run the 2 food drives that were put on, one in October and one this spring.
So what about sports? Are you sports-minded at all?
A little. I did a year of basketball in grade 9. I wasn't very good. I think I scored 1 point the whole year.
Hope you got a video of it.
I don't know.
Teasing.
And then I was in curling for 4 years throughout high school.
Okay.
I did that with the school as well as like the ladies' night at the rink. So curling was something I was interested in.
Okay, now the curling rink was pretty well shut down this past winter, was it not?
Yeah, this year it wasn't able to happen, but grade 9, 10, and 11, I was in the after-school curling.
Right. Oh, okay. Well, that's good. Well, you're well-rounded in some of those areas. And music, like you had the 2 classes you took, but was there much happening extracurricularly this year in music? There did before, I'm sure.
Yeah. Typically, I'm a part of the Westman Honor Band that takes place in Brandon in February each year. That wasn't able to happen this year. I think the group, whoever's in charge of that, just decided that it was a lot easier just to not have it because it was a big safety issue at the time with lots of kids in one place with the pandemic. Typically, I'm also involved in the Provincial Manitoba Honor Band, and this year I was able to. They did a virtual version of it, so we were put into smaller chamber ensembles, which means just a small group of musicians playing a piece together. But
each of you were virtual on that?
Yes.
Right, so technically, how did that work?
We recorded our own parts separate to each of the songs, sent them in to our group leader, who was either a professor at a music university or somebody who was just associated with the music world more, and they would put it all together on the computer and produce a track that was all of us playing, sending in our parts individually, but he'd put it together into the actual song.
So would they send you out like a drum beat or something rather to follow? Like, I mean, what if you played, at 90 revs per minute and the other one was at 85, it's not gonna...
Yeah, so typically songs come with a marking for tempo. It of course depends on style. So we did have a few issues with people playing different ways stylistically, but just with communication and knowing that we all wanted to have a united sound, our group leader was able to explain, like, hey, this person play a little more like this person play a little more like that, and then it worked. Yeah.
So did you have a couple of Zoom sessions to get together kind of thing?
And I think we had 4 sessions in total just to talk and go over things and rehearse certain parts, and then we recorded the stuff on our own, sent it in, and it was all compiled along with the other groups that were part of the Provincial Honor Band into a long YouTube video that I think is somewhere on YouTube. And it's all the songs put together from all the students who participated. Yeah.
That may be something that continues perhaps, because I mean, getting people together, although it's nice to get together, but initial training, initial practicing and so on, could be done like that in future. I know there'll be a lot of things that are not going to be the way they were after we get through COVID, that's for sure. So, okay, what about next year then? You're going to Brandon University, obviously. Yes. They've given you money.
Yeah.
What are you taking there? What are your plans?
My future plans are to be either a high school teacher or a professor. I'm not quite decided yet. I guess I'll figure that out as I'm going through the post-secondary education system. I think I'd like to either teach probably something in the arts field, whether that be a high school teacher or a professor. I'd probably go into English and maybe a minor in psychology as well. I've just always found English and psychology really fascinating.
So are you in the Faculty of Education? Is that where you've...
Yes, I'll be going into education.
Okay, now Faculty of Ed now is a 5-year program, am I right?
Yeah, there's an integrated program for education, I believe. I'm more familiar with the music one through Brandon just because that's the one I'd heard about a lot more, because I was looking at being a music teacher for a long time. But I believe there is a 5-year integrated program.
So are you going to be taking any music courses over there next year? What are you taking?
If I have the room to take extracurricular courses that involve music or other interests of mine, I'm absolutely going to jump at the chance to take those, because I took that one music course during my grade 12 year online, and it was really interesting. I had a good time in that class, so if I have the opportunity to take more, I'll take whatever is interesting.
So having a couple of credits already, will that lighten your load for your first year at BU?
Yeah, that's how I planned it out, is that instead of taking a full course load of 5 each semester, I just took 4 courses each semester, and the 2 dual credit courses that I had done previous to actually starting university kind of fill in those 2 missing slots.
Okay.
Just seeing how the first year goes, kind of getting my feet in the water and seeing how it is.
So what has BU said for next year as far as in-person versus virtual learning?
Brandon University has said that depending on the courses you have to make a decision on whether you're going to be in the city or not. So what I did was I looked at my courses that I was in individually, and I had to see which ones of them were online courses and which one of them were scheduled to be in class. And the majority of mine were actually in the school, so I made the decision that I would have to move to Brandon. So for me, it's a mix of having online and in-person classes, as it is for many people, but I think like the older year students, because those are smaller classes, they're probably going to be in the building more, whereas newer students who are taking classes that are much more crowded will probably be more online.
Yeah, well, I mean, you get the 100 or 200 people in a class in the lecture theater and so on. That's going to be online. So is residence open? Are you going into residence or? Residence
is open, I believe, but I am going to be staying with a roommate in an apartment I found near to the university.
Okay, okay. What else? What didn't we talk about? Was there something that you wanted to mention here today, Charlie?
I guess just a final thank you to everyone. Like over the past decade, more than a decade of my education experience, I just want to thank everyone who's supported and motivated me to graduating and continuing into my career in the future. My parents, my teachers, my friends, my sister, like extended family, anyone who's helped me. I'm just really grateful for the support I've had over the years, because I wouldn't have had the success I've had without that encouragement.
There's a lot. There's a lot to raising a child.
Yeah.
The whole community raises a child, and you've taken advantage of that to
Yes.
become a pretty good representative of a graduate from Neepawa Collegiate.
Thank you.
Maybe we've got a couple of minutes left. I know you've had some summer jobs. This year you're working for the museum,
Yeah.
The Beautiful Plains Museum. Do you want to tell me what you're doing there?
Yeah,
perhaps?
so I've been hired as a summer student this year. We made the decision to stay closed for the summer, but along with that, we've decided to really go hard into doing some renovations and revamping the museum and reorganizing stuff. We've repainted lots of things, we've moved things around, and just trying to make especially the main room more open and inviting for larger tour groups when we're able to do that again and stuff like that. So it's just been lots of cleaning, tidying up, and making the museum the best it can be for when we are able to be open.
So it isn't open even for individual visits right now?
No, unfortunately it's closed for the summer, for the season.
That's right. So your direct supervisor or boss there is Helen Drysdale,
Yeah.
I'm assuming?
Yes.
As such, and we all want to thank Helen for everything she does in our community, and particularly at the museum. And she keeps you busy, does she?
Oh yes, I've had lots to do, yeah.
Yeah, Helen can find jobs where there maybe
Yeah.
aren't any, to keep. She's so busy herself doing
Oh,
things.
extremely, yeah, she's a very busy woman.
Yeah, is that okay? This is the first year at the museum, or you were there last year? Or
This is my first year, yeah.
What were you doing in your other summers before this? Did you?
Previous to that,
Previous to that.
yeah, my one job I've had before that, I was at the Salvation Army for 2.5 years, I think. I had worked there since halfway through grade 10.
So as a stock person in the back type of thing, or what sort of things did you do there?
Just as a general employee, I ran the cash register, I stocked items on the shelf, organized stuff. I decorated the windows as well, sometimes for seasonal stuff. So if you saw drawings on that, that was probably me scribbling on there.
Was there something specific that maybe drew you to the Salvation Army and their work and shop and so on?
So my experience is just working with the Hope Group. Really
sure.
motivated me to get more involved that way. I like it's very cool to me to be able to actively do something and then see a difference being made. Like I know during the flooding that happened, we had people come into the Salvation Army who had lost everything almost, and just being able to be part of a group of people there who was able to say, here's some food, here's some clothes, and see this immediate change in someone's life. That was a really rewarding part of working there. I really enjoyed that interaction with the community and knowing that I was able to make some sort of difference, even in what's considered a smaller town.
Well, that's great, and I'm sure you had connection with Amanda there at the Salvation Army in your grade 9 year, and I'm sure she saw your leadership and your personality, and that you would make a good employee, and that she jumped on that and offered you that position. So that's great that you were able to do that. So you really have had a pretty darn good number of years in high school, and you really feel ready to leave the nest, do you?
I'm feeling as ready as I can, I suppose, yeah. I'm excited to see what's next, even if it's a little scary.
Yeah, well, it is a little scary moving out, on your own, or maybe with others or whatever, leaving home. But some kids are like, they can't wait to get away, and others, they're like, whoa, I think I'm going to fail a course so I don't have to leave home maybe or something. So it's difficult. In easy times, and in COVID times, it must be even more difficult.
Yeah, it's different.
So congratulations for all your success.
Thank you.
And good luck for the future. And thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very
much.
much.
The guest has been Charlie Strelczik, the Governor General Medalist of NACI 2021.